Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of What I Did This Weekend by Olivia Julius.
This paper is to provide a full recount of my time spent with the project known as the Fountain of Youth. Really, it is a bit stranger than the title suggests. I am not the one who picked out the name. But here are the basics to help you understand. So, everyone probably knows about the fictional Fountain of Youth, and that whoever drinks from it will have eternal life. It is an old legend and people have gone crazy looking for it. So, I bet I know what you are going to ask. You are going to ask me, Eric, did you find the Fountain of Youth? Well, sorry to disappoint you all, but no. Well, not exactly. We can extend your life by a lot. I have seen it with my own eyes. The records are logged on our servers, there is proof that we can do this. But hey, you're smart, you know that there must be a catch, right? Here, let me explain how everything works and I will let you decide if the side effects are worth extending your life. Let me just start from the very beginning. 2 years ago, Dr. Serengeti had a breakthrough. He cancelled classes, cancelled meetings, and just stayed in his office for days as he did his research. Some, including myself, were wondering if he had lost his mind. But I did not say anything about it though. He was giving us an A for anything that we had to miss on the syllabus. Plus, that meant I had a free hour to work on classwork. Win-win, I guess. Northfield University is somewhat a small school, so when word got around campus that a professor had gone insane, naturally everyone knew about it. There were rumors that he was working on an atomic bomb, or that he was working with the CIA. The longer he stayed in his office, the wilder the rumors got. When Dr. Serengeti finally came out of his office, he urgently requested his students to come to the lab at 9 o'clock on a cold October night. I was one of them. I still remember that day. Dr. Serengeti had rushed into his lab's meeting room. Papers were falling from his hands, and it took us a minute for us to recognize who he was. He went into his self-imposed isolation 3 weeks ago, and since then it looked like he had not showered, shaved, or slept since then. I was wondering if he really did go insane. Dr. Serengeti put his papers on his desk and walked back to the door and locked it. Then, for added security, he pulled the blinds. There was 10 of us students in the small lab meeting room. All of us were standing around a large conference table just looking at him, wondering what was going on and what got Dr. Serengeti so crazed. Take your seats, Dr. Serengeti said, motioning us to the table. We all looked at each other and then slowly sat down facing him. I could tell some of the other students were looking at their watches, wondering if Dr. Serengeti knew what time it was. Look, I know it's late, he said, handing a stack of papers to one of the students. The student took a piece of paper and passed it down to the next student until all of us got a piece of paper. Nothing gets out of here, you understand? Everyone in the room said yes sir and looked at the paper. I had a breakthrough, he said, 2 words: Hursting radiation. Everyone looked around the room, not sure if they should say something. I had no idea what was going on. What's Hursting radiation? I asked. It's to help out with cancer treatments and other different medical problems. A girl who was sitting on the other side of the table said. I take my Grammy to the hospital every weekend to get treatment. Yes, but do you know what it does? Dr. Serengeti said. It kills cancer cells, the girl said, shrugging. That's chemotherapy, Dr. Serengeti said. What does it do to the cell? The girl shrugged her shoulders. I don't know, she said. I'm an engineer, not a doctor. The group of us laughed, but Dr. Serengeti just frowned. Thank you, Laura. He sighed. Hursting radiation is, and put simply, it is a form of radiation that Robert Hursting discovered back in the 1950s. He discovered that under this radiation human cells reversed back to younger versions of themselves, effectively making the cell younger. "So, you want to create a new medical device?" one of the guys in the back asked. "No, Doctor," Serengeti said. "If you look at the paper in front of you, will see my plans on how to make a large spread of Hursting radiation and turn a fully grown adult into a kid again." No one said anything. I just looked down at the paper and wondered if this was possible. So that was our project for the rest of the year. The only thing on our syllabus now was to make this design a reality. We had our hiccups along our way. One thing to note, that our medical knowledge was non-existent. We had no idea what we were doing, and that is when, after killing our third lab mouse, Dr. Serengeti finally went out and found a medical student to assist us. Alicia took 2 weeks to look over our findings and our work before drawing up a new plan. Her new plan was to take DNA from 2 donors to help guide the mutations, and then the original strand to bring the subject back to adulthood. In the late evening of February, we all gathered and watched as one of the guys gently set Minnie, our white lab rat, into chamber. We had to work fast. The drugs that were keeping her out were going to wear out soon. We all held our breath as Alicia shut the chamber and switched on the machine. Lights started to flash as the hour-long process started. The test was simple. We took the DNA from a male black rat named Speedy and DNA from a female tan rat named Piglet, and to see if Minnie would be the genetic daughter of the 2 rats. Once an hour was done, we stopped the machine and pulled Minnie out of the chamber. This was it. This was the moment we had been waiting for the last few months. We all exhaled for the first time in months when we saw a young juvenile rat that had dark brown fur. Alicia took a hair from Minnie and placed it into a machine to see if the DNA was the result of both Speedy and Piglet's DNA. We all cheered when Alicia announced that we had in fact did the impossible. After 5 attempts, we learned a shocking new side effect. We put Speedy into the chamber, and when we took him out, we noticed that he was now somehow a female rat. As you can imagine, we freaked out. We did checks on Speedy, and after finding out that he is alright, we put him back through the chamber, and to our relief he returned to being male once he became an adult again. After several tests with lab rats, we found out that the rats become the opposite gender 50% of the time, with no side effects after the rat turns back into its original gender. With this figured out, we tried bigger. If a rat could go through the machine and come out unharmed, then a human should not be any different. Laura volunteered to go first. Well, I would not say she volunteered, more like she drew the short straw, and we knocked her out with drugs before she could say anything. I gave a hair follicle to Alicia, who was operating the machine, and she did the same. So biologically, Laura was going to be our child. To make this story short, Laura came out of the chamber a cute 5-year-old little girl. Once Laura woke up, she spent the next hour and a half undergoing the test to make sure she was all right and to make certain that she was indeed mine and Alicia's daughter. Once we were satisfied, we sent her back through and she became an adult woman once more. The next few days we did a few more tests with human experiments. So far, the gender problem has not come up, but it was always in the back of our minds. I never volunteered to go through the machine. The class had plenty of people willing to become kids. The experiences went from a couple of hours to a full day to even overnight. A guy named Aaron became a 10-year-old and became the first student to spend 24 hours as a kid again. After he reported there was no side effects besides the fact that his mother babied him the whole time. Our next big issue came a week later when a guy named Tyler went through the machine and came out a 6-year-old girl. He understandably freaked out and wanted to abort the test, but one of the girls convinced him to stay and even loaned him some clothes from her daughter's emergency bag she kept in the back of her car's trunk. Do not worry, Tyler came back to class the next day wearing a purple princess dress, white tights, purple dress shoes, and a clip-on hair extension so he could look like Rapunzel. He said his mom made him wear it, but the jury is still out. I did a fairly good job staying away from being forced to change back into a kid. But my luck was soon going to end.